So I'm Megan Xavier,
I'm Jess Birkin.
and hopefully we've convinced you that you need to start charging for your consultations. We think that maybe once we've convinced you of that, you might start having those kind of icky feelings that we had the first time that we finally decided we should, which was like, oh, but then how do I do that?
Yeah.
Do I have to ask people for money on the phone when they call?
Yeah. So this video is how to actually do the charging for the consultations, because the nuts and bolts of how to do it is actually kind of intimidating.
It is.
Yeah.
I know. I was actually thrown off so much. I thought maybe I'll just go back to free, even though I had all those reasons why I was willing to try.
Yeah.
I got so intimidated by the setup.
Well, and I don't know about you, but definitely for me, it's like I'm a pretty good salesperson in that I'm likable and I form relationships with people. Thank you. But I really hate asking for money. And I really don't, I still have to practice saying how much I charge out loud. It's just, it's like, So the thought of having to be like, yeah, you can come in and meet with me and I charge X and now you have to give me your credit card before? Do you do that before you start the consult? Do you do it like at the end, or then what if they're like not prepared, or it's just a lot of
I know. For me, I thought, well, do you ask at the beginning, because you kind of sound like you're holding them up, like yes, it was so nice to meet you, I can't wait to talk, I'm gonna need that credit card before we start,
right?
That just changes the dynamic in a nasty way. But then if I wasn't going to ask till the end, I know that the last 5 to 10 minutes, I was going to be going, okay, what am I going to say? How am I going to ask for this? Right. And I was going to miss half of what they said because I would be so stressed out worrying about the payment.
Awkward. I got to get the money from you now. And
I don't have someone else on the line like, I'm going to patch you back to my receptionist. And she's going to. I would never have done that. So we had to find a way this actually works.
Right. Because we're both basically true solos, so we don't have so-and-so at reception will check you out. That's not an option for us. So that's probably an option other places. So we want to talk about how do we do this, and Megan and I both swear by Acuity, which is a booking appointment calendaring app. Anytime you've gone online and maybe you've booked a haircut or a spa treatment or anything where you had to pick a time with a service provider, Acuity could be providing that service. Okay, so
there's Acuity, Time Trade, Calendly. There are various ones out there. We happen to both love Acuity for a lot of its features. Those other ones may be able to do the same things, and there's additional ones too. We just happen to both love Acuity.
So we're going to tell you how to do it with Acuity. And I'm guessing that a lot of the other products are similar, so there's probably some good translation there. So maybe, do you want to talk about the first part, setting up your...
Yeah, so you can set up the online scheduling tool to merge with your calendar. So it can check your calendar to see what times you have available. So for example, I used the Google Calendar.
And I use Outlook.
Oh, okay. So we have 2 different calendars going, but they talk to each other. And so my Acuity calendar looks at my Google Calendar and sees I'm on vacation that day, so I've blocked the whole day. It doesn't offer any times. Or I have that day available, but I have this and that and the other thing scheduled. When I have those things scheduled, it doesn't offer time. So it knows what times to make available. And I tell Acuity, I'm willing to do my consultations these hours on these days. And so it only ever offers within the window.
Yep. And actually they have not to get too deep in the weeds on Acuity here, but they do actually have features now where they will try and group all of your appointments together, or they will only offer a limited time selection. So if you're not busy at all, nobody has to know that, which I think is very...
that's nice.
That's really clever.
Doing that. Yeah, because I know for a while I was like, oh gosh, you can see I have 5 hours a day every day.
Got nothing going on. Book appointments with me, please, right? No, so you don't want that, especially if you're just starting out or you're just having a slow week or something. So then you set up the back end, and you also set up your appointment type. And so you will set up, hey, for me, it's startup consultation or just a general consultation. So I have like 2 different consultation types that people can book with me. One is very specific for startups and it's a certain price. And then the other consultation is just general legal issues for my nonprofit potential clients. And that's a different price. So you can actually have more than one appointment type. So if you have a practice area or a firm that has multiple practice areas and there's some reason to have more than one consult, you could do that, which is kind of cool.
I just have Wi-Fi.
Yeah. So there you go. Yeah. You want to talk about payments?
Then you set up your payments. We discovered in talking about this that we use 2 different payment providers. I use Stripe.
And I use PayPal.
And either way, the customer doesn't know, the client that has no idea. They just put in their credit card information. And it's pretty simple to set up. You just literally follow the instructions in Acuity as you're going through to set up your payment.
It's as easy as having a PayPal account and you just enter your information and it just connects. It's not that hard. One of the things that we have discussed is there are options in there for whether you take payment immediately. So at the time that the person makes the booking, do they have to pay right now at the time of the appointment? Or do you want to like allow them to pay later, or you authorize a charge, or yada, yada, yada? We both are of a mind that you pay at the time of the booking, period. Because I don't want to do accounts receivable for my regular clients, let alone chase somebody down for a couple $100 for a consultation. It's so not worth it. No. And I know you've had experience with the ACH authorization, whatever, just like it's too much work. It's too much administrative effort on your end. Just have people pay you and, Yeah.
And from an ethics standpoint, I know some people are concerned that if they take payment up front before they've delivered any legal services, well, then should that have been in trust? What I find is that as long as you're going to refund that money if there's, if for whatever reason you don't deliver the service, then it's really not an issue. I have a no-show policy, which I've never needed to implement, but I do have that they sign off that if they don't show, there's a charge. You could even say that the whole fee is the charge if they don't show, and then it would really only be if you didn't deliver the consultation for whatever reason. If you canceled, then you should refund, and that's just good business anyway. But I don't think that it's an issue.
I've got a very similar setup, probably because you and I talk all the time, but I have a cancellation policy, and if they cancel, it's a full refund. If I cancel, it's a full refund. If they don't show up, there's a fee that they only get a partial refund, and that's pretty typical for any sort of appointment that you're going to. So
the doctor does that.
Don't worry about your clients or your potential clients or whoever these folks are being like, oh no, that's not fair. No, it's fair, because everybody, everywhere you go, has a 24-hour cancellation policy and a charge usually. So this is not, we're not special. Like, this is just the way the world works today. So don't worry too much about that.
And most likely you're the only one thinking that. Your clients probably aren't thinking that at all. It doesn't faze them, because when their dentist calls to confirm their dentist appointment in 3 days, they say make sure you cancel within 24 hours or before it's 24 hours before your appointment to avoid a broken appointment charge. And we all just go, oh, okay. And so does your clients. And so they don't think any differently.
So that's sort of the how-to 101, and I think we should come back and talk about the fee agreements and follow-up emails in another video.
Yep, so look around for that one.
All right, stay tuned.